What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Some bonus amplification coming at you. Not even an hour ago, today's Amped Up show went live on the channel. But sometimes you just gotta dish out some extra amplification. So you guys are getting a bonus vid because I need you guys to hear this exchange. And I gotta give the utmost props, respect, and salute to former WWE, WWF writer, and WCW writer, Vince Russo, of all people. Love him or hate him, I know you got a feeling about him, but damn did he step up big for pro wrestling. This was not a stand-up for Vince McMahon, trust me. This was just a lot of built up over decades, hostility over a dude whose position in life was just to bash WWF, WWE, and that is Phil Mushnick, New York Post writer, but his real title was WWE Basher. And that's all he did. Left and right, top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end, no matter what, it was just going to be bashing WWF. Even as a young BC, I knew Phil Mushnick, he was the ultimate douche. And this was Vince Russo's, this was his time, his chance to unleash on Mushnick. I want you guys to listen to this. This is from the Piers Morgan Uncensored podcast/show. And this just got uploaded within the last hour or two. Again, I was already recording today's Amped Up show for my channel. But once I got wind of this and I was able to catch this exchange, man, I could not possibly show any more respect over to Vince Russo for what he just did, man. He stepped up to Mushnick. It's about time somebody did. The show in itself for Pierce was supposed to be about Vince McMahon. The actual title is Sociopath, Vince McMahon WWE Debate Plus Shock Guest. That's the actual title. The shock guest is Mushnick. The original panel that he already had on before Mushnick was the surprise guest was former WWF star Maven, former WWF and WWE announcer, interviewer, and so many other things, Jonathan Coachman, Vince Russo, former interviewer Charlie Caruso, and again, then Phil Mushnick became the surprise guest. Now, Pierce had set them up in a typical WWE storyline, right? Like it's a pro wrestling segment. He had each of the panel, Vince Russo, Maven, Coachman, Charlie, talk about their feelings about Mushnick. And then Pierce said, oh, we actually have Mushnick as a guest. So they had already unleashed on him. Now who was going to step up and do it in a face-to-face type of manner, right? So first Jonathan Coachman starts to get pissed off. And then Vince Russo jumps in. So the first voice you're going to hear going against Mushnick is Jonathan Coachman. And then Vince Russo steps in. You'll know Vince Russo. He's going to cut a lot of bros. But listen to this exchange, guys. It's one for the ages. And it has to be heard and then talked about.
Our parents. And they were all in McMahon's purview. They were
Phil, we just said a lot of what you... I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there. A lot of what you said
don't
is true.
Stop me.
Nobody said that.
Did I stop
Phil,
you? Surprise,
you brought my kids.
You're a sellout. You're a sellout. You have no moral fiber.
A sellout. See, and Piers, this is what I'm talking about. I've never met this man. I've never met this man, and he said I have no moral fiber. He doesn't know me.
So that's Coach. And now Vince Russo is he can't hold back. So now Vince Russo is going to jump in and listen to Russo go off. And then Mushnick goes, don't call me bro. And that just sets off Vince Russo even more.
Proof? Coach, he wanted proof. I just supplied the proof.
How come?
I called you out. I called you out 30 years ago when you made it up. You made stuff up, Phil, 30 years ago,
keep
bro.
Shouting, because you're a fraud.
You're going to sit there and say we haven't done because maybe you're senile, bro.
Well, no,
maybe
we talked a lot.
Maybe you just got out of the chair, bro. You reported on stuff that was never said.
Don't call me bro.
I'll call you whatever. I'll call you a liar then. How about call you a liar? You reported on
Knock
stuff
yourself
that was
out.
never said. I recorded
You have no credibility.
You went in
You
the New
used to
York
be-
Post.
you used to be a gay- you-
was never said. Yeah, what? What, bro? I was what?
You're
I
gonna
used
get-
to be what? What did I used to be, bro?
Are you
Tell
going
me,
to let
Phil.
me speak?
Oh, go ahead. Tell me what I used to be.
You let
Russo is jumping out of his seat almost at this point.
me speak?
Go ahead.
Sure,
What I
Phil,
used
go
to be.
ahead.
Did
Phil.
you once
I want let Phil
write a
speak.
newsletter
Let Phil
about
speak.
pro wrestling? Did you
Yes.
run once? And weren't you very, very anti-McMahon, right? I
No,
got
I
the
was
copies of
very
the
fair.
lie.
Yes, show us the copies right now, Phil. Show us the copies right now.
I have
Anti-McMahon, my
right
butt,
here,
bro.
you
I
moron.
was fair. I was a fair. That's why I went to the symposium to hear his side of the story, because guys like you were burying him. So I was. There's got to be another side to the story. That's why I went and you didn't go, because you didn't want to hear the other side of the story, because you had to sell newspapers, bro. You're the fraud, and then you embarrassed me.
I can't have
myself a journalist.
Okay, let me jump in as a good referee.
Got that there. That's just simply epic, man. Russo was in it. He's all. I mean, that's the New York. Right? I mean, we're just gonna. It's passion, right? Half the time we're not even angry. It's passion, right? Anybody will tell you it's not just even New York. A lot of Italian families will tell you it's passion. A lot of people think we're yelling and we're screaming and we're pissed off. We're actually just having a talk. But Russo is out of his seat, and this was his chance, man. Everything that Mushnick has put the company through. This isn't just a Vince McMahon thing. This dude was out for World Wrestling Federation and to see their demise, and it's been that way for decades. And he was going for all of their food on their table, man, and clothes on their kids' backs. And this was Vince Russo's time. Face to face was your chance, man. He talked a big game when he didn't think he was on the show. Finds out Mushnick was on, and Vince just cut Coachman off and went total fucking 100. Vince Russo absolutely just knocked out of the park one of the best pro wrestling promos all year long. And it was on the Piers show, and it was against Phil Mushnick. Vince Russo versus Phil Mushnick. Who knew that was the match we were all waiting for, man? Vince Russo just stepped up big time. That is what needed to be said to Mushnick. So many people in the industry have been just clamoring at getting a moment, a chance to say that to Mushnick. Vince was one of 5 individuals that had that chance, and he took it. Vince Russo, man, absolute legend status with that promo. Epic. I had to let you guys hear that. Vince Russo is a polarizing character. There's a lot of individuals that absolutely give him the props that he deserves, and there's a lot of people that absolutely rip him for a lot of the mistakes that he's made, which he has made a ton, and there was most of them made in WCW. That's without question. But there's also no question that without Vince Russo, we don't get the Attitude Era. We understand it's filtered through Vince and Kennedy, but Vince Russo was one of the main components for what we had the chance to live through. The best era of all time, and it'll never be matched. And that's kind of unfortunate to say, but it's because of Vince Russo. So no matter how you feel about him, after this promo cut on Phil Mushnick, the ultimate douche, there's got to be, at the bare minimum, a sliver of respect thrown at the dude, even if you can't stand him. For BC, there was always something about Russo. I always just absolutely respected. And I could not help but, I mean, he was just made for pro wrestling, right? And this is just one of those things. I couldn't be more happy for the dude. He had his chance, he took his shot, and he absolutely hit the home run. Glad you guys got a chance to listen to it, man. Thanks for listening to BC. Kind of talk about it a little bit. Don't know how you guys feel about it, man. How you feel about Vince Russo up front. But this promo, legendary, dude. Vince Russo, Phil Mushnick, the promo on Pierce. You heard it first here on BC.